Hello there everyone and welcome to another video here with Hypnotherapy Training International. And today's topic is relating to earlier topic which we done in a different video, and that's about client not getting into trance. But today's question is how important or not important perhaps is the depth of the trance in order to work with a client. So Dr. John Butler, if you can please cover this topic for us briefly, that would be great.
Okay, Dan. Well, in a way, there's two questions there. But what happens if I don't go into a trance? Sometimes people will say that because they haven't experienced trance, in their opinion, with previous hypnotists they may have seen. So the therapist needs to educate the client also about, first of all, the trance is ubiquitous. It is everywhere in our lives. We go into a form or level of trance many times a day, perhaps when we want to enjoy a film, on the TV, on the computer, or even the cinema. It's a natural, necessary function and activity of the brain. We go through many drops and levels and raising of our consciousness throughout the day. And so for somebody to say to you that they can't go into a trance is kind of meaningless, because it would mean that they didn't have most of their brain. And they didn't have emotions, they didn't have the power of imagination, and so on, which they may be misusing a great deal. So, consciousness, as I say, is many levels and variations. And we have obviously our very waking alert stage, we have daydreaming, or in drowsy detached states. We go into sleep, which is many levels of course, and we have dreaming in our sleep. So, when we get the client to understand that what trance is like, it's not being unconscious, unaware, you're hyper aware, yet hyper relaxed. And that's where they get a lot of confusion. And so, we will help them then deal with any inhibitions in going to trance, mostly which are fear-based. I've talked about that before. Helping them deal with any self-sabotage, so they begin to understand their amazing capacity for trance and developing it powerfully and effectively. Another part of educating the client would be that there are so many things we're using that do not depend on the trance per se. In other words, the power of suggestion, again, which rules and ruins our lives for many of us, it is the power of controlling the masses. The suggestions that are given and that we learn in our education, for good or bad, and throughout our lives. So the incredible power of suggestion to control functions in mind and body, with or without a trance. We have waking hypnosis, again doesn't rely on the trance, which intensifies the power of suggestion further. And then we have trance hypnosis at many levels. And that brings up the question of levels of trance and how important this is for therapy, so-called depth of trance. Just very quickly, because again it's a deep topic, there is very, very profound experience clinically and several studies that have shown that the depth of trance has a very low correlation with the outcomes of therapy. For most problems, with most clients I always say, for some situations it's very useful to deep and develop the trance. Most cases, virtually irrelevant. I put it about 6 or 7 on the list of things that are important for generating change. There are many other things much more important. And you can be very, very deep in a trance, and if you didn't want those suggestions, you could reject them. And you're in a lighter stage of hypnosis, for example, and you're very motivated to change, very committed to those suggestions, very ready for them. You could do extremely well with a lighter level of trance. So there are many studies that say about this, mentioned about it, that I've mentioned in previous videos, and I'm happy to talk about that in more depth another time. But all in all, the client does not need, and there's no justification, there's no need for them to be afraid of not going into a trance. And there is no justification for therapists then labeling people, you're a poor subject, you're a low response person. True, at the beginning many people will inhibit their trance, and we can see there's a bell curve of responsiveness at the beginning, of course, and as we go through developing the trance, some people will respond better, quicker, deeper, and some become very proficient, and that's based on many factors of practice and commitment and dealing with baggage that's inhibiting their trance, internal conflicts and so on. So All in all, trance is a natural phenomenon, a wonderful ability we all possess, and it comes in many forms: the drowsy, lethargic trance and the hyperactive trance, which is often combined with, and it's always with increased awareness, by the way, but it can be very active, as in the tribal dancing and other forms of group activities where trance is often used as well, throughout different cultures and throughout history. So that's just a very quick overview of a wonderful topic. Thank you very much for listening and watching.